Welcome to the official Cryptids, Anomalies, and the Paranormal Society's podcast. I'm your host, Barnaby, and you're listening to Whispers from the Dark. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Whispers from the Dark. I am your host, Barnaby, and today's guest is Mary Barrett. Welcome to the show, Mary. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I am awake and I am alive, and nothing on my body hurts today. So,
Well, now that's a good thing.
that's a good thing. Yep. So, Mary, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay. Well, I do a lot of things, but I'm a psychic medium. I do gallery readings and I read for people, parties, private readings. I'm a master hypnotist. I put people under. I do past life regressions and I do habits. So if anybody has a habit, it breaks it. It really does. A lot of people don't, they don't realize that it works, but it does. And I'm a minister and I'm an author of 5 books. I actually just graduated from my graduate program. I'm a doctorate of human services too, with a mental health and substance abuse, which really helps when I do the past life regressions, because a lot of times people come to me, the women especially, something that's happened in their past life here, that like they might have been molested or raped or something. We go back to that and we kind of pull them back where it doesn't really bother them too much anymore. So if somebody comes out of any kind of hypnosis, I know how to handle them.
Very cool. Very
So
cool.
that's
So
good.
we have a lot to cover here. It sounds like.
I'm a jack of all trades.
That's great. That's what we like here. So let's start. I really want to get into the hypnotism stuff. So we're going to save that till a little bit later because I haven't had any of that kind of stuff on the show yet here. So you are a medium. You do gallery readings and stuff. Where are you actually based out of?
I'm in Tennessee.
Okay. I see you're going to be up at an event that I am up in Chicago or Wisconsin. I can't remember which one. Coming up in
with Illinois.
Yeah.
The Cambry House.
Nope. Are you at Spirits in the Spring?
With Jennifer, I don't know where I'm at.
Okay. I did notice the other day, one of the events that I'm going to be at, I noticed your name on the list too, and I'm like, oh, I know her. She's going to be on the show. So I can't remember which one it is. I thought it was Spirits in the Spring, and that would be at Broadhead Manor in Wisconsin.
No, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. Are you going to the one? Are you going to the upstate Paracon in South
Michigan? Nope.
South Carolina.
Yes, I know you're going to be down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's up in Illinois or somewhere up here though. I don't know, but I'll see you at one of these events coming up in March or something. So I was just looking at it, but yeah, you're listed as a speaker there, so I'll see you there.
All right, I'll have to ask Jennifer.
Yeah, to be honest, I look at my schedule 1 week at a time. So if you asked me what I was doing next week, I couldn't tell you. I just knew I had to be here to do this today. So.
Yep. And that's how I am too. I look at it daily, but when I go on the road, it's like, all right, where am I at now? So, and we have an RV, which is really great. So not
awesome.
the drivable one, but the pull one, but it's still good. So, cool. And we have a washer and dryer in there. So I'm all prepared.
We're getting there.
Go ahead.
Oh, I said we're getting there with caps. We're looking at RVs and stuff like that because we're on the road so much. But
yeah, just be careful what you buy because some of them. The last one we had was falling apart as we were going down the road, and it was a brand new RV. So,
Oh, good. Yeah.
but Jennifer's been really hitting it lately. She's got me all over the place.
Hmm.
So I'm not exactly sure where I'm gonna be.
Well, that's good. I mean, it keeps you on your toes, so
That's
definitely.
true. That's
Hmm.
true. I just
So,
got to remember. Go ahead.
yeah, I was gonna say. So let's get on to the medium stuff. So, when did you first? What got you into this? What started first? Were you a medium or a hypnotist, or where did your life in the weird and paranormal and stuff start?
Well, as far as I can remember, I would have like premonitions, like, and I didn't know that because I didn't grow up in a psychic home. I mean, I grew up in the 60s and 70s where you go to a fortune teller, tea reader,
Hmm.
whatever. But I just had too many things happen. Like one time I got really upset and didn't know why. And I was about to find out that my father had been killed in an accident. And a friend of ours was about to die in the middle of July. I'm covered in blankets and I'm freezing my butt off. It was things like that I never put two and two together until I was actually in my 30s when a friend of mine said, "Oh, go get yourself a tarot deck card." I
Hmm.
did. I blew wide open. I didn't even need the cards. As a matter of fact, they slowed me way down because I use nothing when I read somebody. So, but it was always funny because my son would skip school with his friend, and I'd be home and I'm like, "Hey, mom, let's go for a ride." We'd go for a ride and we bump right into them. And his son says, "How in the world does your mother know when we skip school?" So, but yeah, I've really been practicing since, I guess since the 90s, you know. But I've always had the abilities, just didn't know what they were. My mom would call them nerves, or somebody would say it's PMS or whatever, but I actually didn't know that I had these abilities. And boy, when I blew open, I blew open.
Very cool. Very cool. So, I've interviewed several different psychics and mediums and stuff, and I always find it interesting to see how you communicate. Do you see things? Do you hear things? Can you see them like in front of you? Is it more in your mind? How is it that you're able to communicate?
Everything. I can see them, I can hear them, I can feel them. They're kind of sometimes like a hologram.
Okay.
But yeah, they really come to me. So in any way, if they want me to say something and I don't say something, they'll bug the crap out of me until I say it. Um, and it's just everything with me. Like I said, when I blew open, I blew wide open.
So, how does that? Let's see. How do you open yourself up? Can you close that? Can you shut it down and like turn it off so that you're not experiencing that all, or is it always on?
It's always on. And as I said, I went to college and every time I would get a job, it would end for some reason or another. Like I had an adjunct professor's job. I loved it. The kids loved me. Well, I had it a year and then I was told they were going to restructure and didn't need me anymore. So I jumped on a psychic line and I had a woman call me and she said, "Do you have your own website?" I said, "No." She said, "Make one." And she hung up on me. She called me back and she said, "Do you have it?" And I said, "Yeah." And that was like, God, 20 years ago. And I've only heard from her like two or three times after that. That was it.
Hmm.
So, I mean, here I am. And the minute I found out that I graduated from school, I met Jennifer and it's been a whirlwind. It's something else. Like, COVID hit. So
Mm.
nobody could go out anymore. Well,
Mhm.
I got the opportunity of going back to school in the beginning of that. So I'm like, okay, I'll go back. And I couldn't go anywhere because of my schoolwork, you know. But now that COVID is pretty much under control, let's say, here I am. Everything's opening back up again, and here I go. So, I'm being guided to do this. And my education does help a lot of people say, why'd you even waste going to school? It helps. It really
Mhm.
does. And
Very
that's where
cool.
I got into the hypnosis, as I was in a mental health class and they were going to have a hypnotist come in and certify us, but I moved, so I ended up getting certified later. So, but yeah, it's interesting. My life has not been boring.
Definitely. While we're on the topic and your little segue there, what is your website for anybody that wants to reach out to you?
www.mary, M-A-R-Y, Barrett, Barrett.org.
Very nice. Awesome. We'll put that in the show notes for anybody listening as well, so that you can go ahead and click on it. And you have a Facebook and stuff as well.
Yes.
Okay. And that's Mary Barrett as well.
Yes. I
Okay.
don't know the whole URL, but
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's Mary Barrett.
Sounds good. I will put that in the show notes as well for people listening. I'm sure you can find her, like, or go to the website and find a link that way as well. So, if they want to get a
Yeah,
hold of you.
Google me.
Okay.
Google me and I pop right up.
Awesome. Awesome. So, let's talk a little bit about your hypnotism stuff. So, for like I said, I've never had. We were talking before the show started here. I've never had a hypnotism a hypnotist on the show, or anybody that practices that. So I'm really interested to hear all about this from you. So we talked about how you got into it and that. So is it something anybody can do? Obviously, is it
I would not advise people doing it unless they get the training,
mm,
because sometimes people come out bad,
mhm,
and you've got to be careful. I had a 15-year-old girl on stage one time, and she had been a mentally retarded or emotionally challenged, mentally challenged, whatever. And she came out crying. She woke herself up, and instead of letting me calm her down and bring her back to sanity here, her mom came, grabbed her, and rushed her off. And I'm like, you don't do that. You have to
mhm.
have training to be able to handle anything that comes up out of it. Now, people do go up there and they do bark like a dog, or, do a chicken. I use mine for good. I use it to help people, not for comedy.
Mhm.
So, with that said, since we are going to be together at a event,
Mhm.
we should have one of your people tape you going under.
That sounds interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
I
I've
actually,
done it to a lot of people.
I assume you have. Yeah, I actually have been interested. We just did a whole episode. Well, we finished filming for the episode. It's not out yet, but on UFO activity in Wisconsin here. And I'm actually interested in having a regression thing done to see if there's anything, like we were going to do an experiment with three different people, one that believed in aliens, one that didn't believe in aliens, and then like a control. And I wanted to see if the person who did not believe in aliens had any contact of any kind, because you hear all the time that these people don't remember the contact, or being abducted, etc. And it's really interesting to see if like, I'm not saying hypnotism is fake or anything like that, but if people are able to they say implant those ideas that, well, oh, I was abducted or whatever. Now,
Mhm.
if you take a person who does not believe in aliens and you get a similar story out of them, or if that story came out, is that making sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect
Okay.
sense. Yeah, and a lot of people regress. They don't wanna remember,
Hmm.
or they can't remember, but when they're under hypnosis, their subconscious is way open,
Hmm.
and, like, I did a radio show, and it was a radio show on the air that, WVI no, WILK in Pennsylvania, and I had the co-host Stanley Zurek on there, and he described it, and it's on my website. He described it, it's like you're you're seeing things here and you're spurting things out in the mouth, and you're like, "What the heck?" "Where's that coming from?"
Hmm.
And that's the best way to describe it is, where's that information coming from? That's your subconscious. So yeah, that would be very interesting. And I never really thought, but you could probably do a past life on on a place that you're at. It's more without knowing the history, going in there and describing everything that had happened in that house, and where it's from, time, and all that. Like, I just put my daughter-in-law Nikki under hypnosis for the second time, and it's going to be up. Jennifer's fixing it and editing it. One part of it is she was a girl. She was in a field of wildflowers. And the first time she was there, she goes, "I don't know. There's bunnies all over the place." She goes, "I think I'm a bunny rabbit." that that did it. I had to wake her up because we were all cracking up. So I put her back under yesterday, and she goes right back to that place. And I go, "Are you a girl or a boy?" She goes, "I'm a girl." I said, "Are you a child or a woman?" She goes, "Neither." She goes, "I'm that bunny." So, yeah. And then Jennifer was asking me, "You actually could be an animal?" And there's her answer.
That's cool. That is really cool. So, from your, I have so many questions here. From your experience, um, do you believe that, like, the life that we live, the soul that we have, is similar to, like, the reincarnation? Like, do you have past lives and stuff, but do you get to you become animals, or you can become a human, or how do you see that happening? Do you ever progress past the physical form into, like, say, going to heaven, and staying there, or what is your belief on that?
Probably pieces of you go here and there. And it stays in like a computer in your mind, because your mind's like a computer, your subconscious.
Mhm.
Things that you might not know, like I'm not going to mention this person's name because he is a celebrity. I put him under, and he's not married in this life or anything, but he went back to a past life where he was married and his wife died, and he came out of it crying and like, "Oh my god, that felt so real." He was actually there. And that's where I try to take people. I When I do the past life regressions, I take them to where they were, what year, what month, what day, what their name is, if they're a female or a male, if they're married, what kind of job they have, and so on, and then how they died. And then this way, they can always try to track it back on the computer if they want to. Now, being a bunny, you can't track that. But
Hmm.
yeah, and it does. It really works. It works very well, and they're like, "Oh, I remember some of that." There was a 75-year-old woman that I put under, and all of a sudden, she's telling me her name's Franny, and she's 5 years old, and I'm like, "What?" Because her name was Fran, and she goes, "I'm running, the fire engines are coming, the engines are coming," and she runs back of the house. And I'm like, "Why is she afraid of fire engines?" Well, all of a sudden, we're back in the 1800s, and the engines are coming, and an engine killed her. You got the correlation?
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. So, because fire engines are called engines, that's why she's afraid of fire engines. And she sat there stunned. She's like, "All my life, I wondered, why I was afraid of them." And there was her answer.
That's really cool.
So, and some people remember their past lives. So, yeah, it's like a computer.
So, have you ever had an experience where you've done a regression where someone, you talked about the animals, have you ever had a regression where someone was, for the sake of this argument, like an extraterrestrial or another species? No? Okay.
Mm-mm. Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Because I have
Maybe
heard,
when I get to, put you under.
oh, good. Yeah, there's all kinds of weird stuff going on there.
Well, there's there's a line that people travel, a road they travel. So a lot of people, deja vu, for instance. Have
Mhm,
you ever walked into a room and actually almost go up to somebody and say, "Hey, what are you doing? Or where you been?" And
mhm,
to stop yourself at the last minute and say, "Hey, I don't know that person."
mhm,
I've done that. Or going down a street and like, "Hey, this is familiar. I've never been here before." So there's two incidents with that. One is you've been there before in a past life, or it could be the contract you made before you came down here and letting you know you're on the right track.
mhm,
And I've had mothers and daughters that have switched roles. I've had husband and wives that have actually switched roles, or they've been brother and sister in the past. They don't like to hear that one
mhm.
because that grosses them out. But, that's what it is. It's very interesting when you get into that, but you have to have somebody who knows what they're doing.
So, do you think that time is linear, or do you think that you can have a past life that would be like in the future?
I believe that you can go into the future. Yes. Um, but mainly we get the past lives, what
Mhm,
people have done, because a lot of people have problems right now that happened to them in the past. And you've heard
mhm,
a lot of people say, "Oh, it must be karma from another life biting me in the butt."
mhm,
Well, let's go see. You never know. And sometimes that can take away the karma because you can actually address it while you're under hypnosis. And then, if you've had a trauma or something like that, it's like watching a movie, but it's not affecting you anymore.
mhm.
So, yeah.
Do you find that, moving on here to the addiction side of all this, do you find that that is a lot of the reason why people have these addictions, or is it something of their current life?
Oh boy, that is a really question.
That's what
It
I'm here
could
for.
be it could be from a past life, but also I'm a big believer in it's hereditary.
Okay.
So, you could bring your addiction because you didn't settle it in your past life, will you settle it in this life or will you continue to the next life? And that's with anything, you know, but addiction, a lot of people don't realize addiction is not just drugs, it's alcohol. I bet you have an addiction.
Oh,
What
I'm
is
sure.
something what is something that you cannot do without?
Well, my house is full of a lot of collections.
Okay, so you're a collector.
Correct. Yeah.
Some people would call that just, a junk collector. There you go, Um, people can't stay away from coffee. I taught an addiction class in a college, and it was really funny. It was an adult night class, and one of my daughters was in it. So everybody named what they were going to do. And I said, yours is no cell phone. And I grabbed her cell phone and she's like, can I at least call somebody and tell them? I'm like, nope, you cannot do it for 1 week. And this one girl, she said, mine is fast foods. Well, at the end of the week, this kid who never tried drugs before went to a nightclub and he tried ecstasy. And I hit him in the head. I said, what is your problem? You're in a drug class, and you go and try drugs for the first time. And my daughter finally got her phone back. She was going crazy. And then this girl with the fast food, she said she would go into like a McDonald's and she would be looking all around, making sure nobody saw her. And I said, she's like a drug addict when they're going to go buy drugs. Or it's like an alcoholic that's going into a store to buy alcohol, you know? And they learned, what an addict feels like. And that was my point. That's what I wanted them to do. But like with you, you say you collect things,
Hmm.
you see something you want, you really want that, try to walk away from it. You're not going to be able to. You're going to go back and buy it.
Hmm.
And that's an addiction.
Hmm.
So now, see, you got an addiction here.
Oh, I know that. Yeah. If it can be collected, I have it.
Yeah. And people don't realize, people say it's an obsession.
Hmm.
Well, I wouldn't call it an obsession because you like things, you collect things. I love my job. I love going out there helping people, whether it's bringing a loved one back that they have to have some kind of closure with, or just to say hi, or helping them get past whatever has happened in their life, or even curiosity where they want to know who they were in a past life. So, yeah, I love this job. I wish I would have started it when I was my 20s, even, but hey, it happens when I believe in God's time. So,
So you hear a lot of these, the stories of, the people that want to quit smoking, for instance, and
mhm.
they go to a hypnotist and they, snap their fingers and all of a sudden they walk off stage and now they don't smoke anymore. Is it really that easy, or is there more therapy and stuff that goes along with it?
Yes.
Okay.
I tell people that when I hypnotize them first, I just did to Jennifer's friend. I don't know if you know Teresa,
I have
but
not, no.
okay, well, you can confirm this. I didn't get to hypnotize her because they're in South Carolina and I'm here.
Mhm.
But she got one of my MP3s, stopped smoking. And right from the beginning, she really didn't want cigarettes. She went way down. And I think now she's not even smoking. And that was just a couple days ago.
Hmm.
But I do say when you get hypnotized, get the CD because that CD reinforces it.
Mhm.
If that person really wants to quit, they'll quit. I've hypnotized a person they walked right out my door and lit up a cigarette. And I'm like, you didn't want that suggestion. I don't even know why you came to me and why you paid me, because you didn't want to quit smoking. And he says, you're right, I didn't. I said, well, why did you even come? He came just to see what it was like to be hypnotized. You know, you can help a person, but they also have to help themselves. And I tell people, watch who you go to and make sure that you have somebody with you, because you never know.
Mhm.
So you got scammers out there no matter where you look.
Mhm. So when you do like the gallery readings and the medium stuff, a lot of them can do it like as we're doing here, like through Zoom or online and stuff. Can you do it that way?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You
Can
have a woman
you?
behind you sitting there the whole time we've been talking.
Okay. Hmm.
Yeah, she's sitting like with her arms folded and her feet. It's kind of like an um genie, sitting. Just sitting
Okay.
right behind you,
Hmm.
listening.
Do you know who she is?
She's grandma type. It seems like
Okay.
she's your grandmother.
Hmm.
She's telling me you're a dust collector. Um she said you've always been smart and you always go for what you want. And she's very proud of you because you have done things that other people have not done. You have you're very smart. She can't wait to see you under hypnosis. But um you're on the right track for you. And this part of you, the paranormal part, is going to actually pan out really well for you as long as you keep doing what you're doing. There's a couple books in it for you in the future. There will be books written. Some you're going to write by yourself, and some you're going to co-write. Um, she's saying that you're a good kid when you were growing up. You've always been very determined, and she thinks that's your best quality. Keep going for what you want, because you are going to acknowledge some things and open people's eyes, and that she loves you. And like she's kind of waving by.
Well, thank you.
Any of that resonates with you?
A little bit, yeah. My grandma is passed, so yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like
And
her.
it's good that they come back,
Hmm.
and she's acknowledging you and giving you confirmation by, your determination, because I don't know anything about you,
Hmm.
and you've been determined according to her since you've been a little boy. So,
Hmm.
you know, you're going right on track.
Yeah,
So were
that
you
all makes sense.
determined? Yeah.
Uh, she got me this plaque, and it was my name, and on it was like things, like numerology only, but name. I don't know what that is, but it's all about that. And the very bottom thing on there is the motto that I've lived by, and it's if money can be made, Barnaby will find a way to make it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I've gotten poor. I don't have a lot of money, but I've never been in a place where I couldn't find a way to do it. I've done professional wrestling. I did that for 10 years. I owned a
Wow.
haunted house business for 7 years, and now I'm doing this. So I'm very
Well,
determined.
I think with this, you're really you're really doing what you're supposed to be doing. And I feel that, you know, as you go along, you're going to collect more information
Mhm.
And that's when the books are going to start coming in about all the experiences. And I think you're on something with the UFOs, and other living beings that are out there. And I think you're going to discover a lot about yourself. And I think maybe the past life regressions will play in there for you. I don't tell people what I know about what I feel about their past,
Mhm.
because I feel it's got to come from the so-called horse's mouth, because I
Mhm.
could tell you you were a stripper on Main Street. How do you know? But
Mhm.
if it came out of your mouth, then you'd have to believe it.
Mhm.
So that's why I like to do the past life regressions.
Very good. Very good. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
We'll find out what you are or what you were.
Oh, good. I've already been enough in this life. I don't want to know what else I've done in the past.
You might be.
I might be what?
You might be
You broke up there.
surprised.
Okay. You broke up there a little
Surprise!
bit. I'm sure I
Yeah,
will be.
I think you'll be happy surprised,
Very cool.
because
Very cool.
I don't think there's a bad bone in your body. I think you're out to really, really have people see. You want the knowledge, and I don't feel like you're doing it for money. I think you're actually doing this for self gratification. You want to know what, and you want to inform people, just like area, 19, is it? Whatever. But, what's
51?
out there? Huh?
Area 51?
Yeah, there you go. Area
Area 19.
19 popped into my
Yeah,
brain.
whatever.
But Area 51, if you could get in there and you can confirm, what the fun is that? But going and investigating, then yeah. How do you know you don't have an alien right behind you now or living in
I
your
don't.
house?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch Bewitched?
I have seen it. Yep.
Have you ever seen it with the she's in New England and with the warmer that was possessed?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was like a shaped something like, it was round with a handle. They called it a bed warmer, a warmer.
Okay. Yeah.
But anyway, it was possessed and she got it unpossessed. Now, right there, that was what, in the 60s, the beginning of the 70s. They were
Mhm.
doing it then, talking about paranormal. And I'm watching on TV now, they're talking about it more so in storylines. So I think a lot of people that really want to do this just to help people, you're one of them. And I think that's really good. I can't stand people who go and come to me and tell me that they were ripped off thousands of dollars because they had a spell on them. I can't stand that. But people who really want to help, that's where it's at.
Well, thank you.
So you get it here first. I confirm you're real.
Well, thank you. I sincerely appreciate that. That's very nice. Yeah.
And you got the right name too.
Yes, I am a detective. Yep, I know.
There you go. See, your mom knew what she was doing when she named you.
Hmm. My mom is actually part of the team as well. She does a lot of our research in that. So she does all
That's
that for
great.
us. Yep.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
I think there's a connection here, but I'm not going to say nothing.
Okay. Well, I would say that if you meet me out there at a convention or something, you're probably going to run into her as well, because she's usually the one that has the weekends off with me that goes out to these events. A lot of the other team has weird working hours and stuff, so it's usually me and her,
Right.
and then sometimes Derek. So
Yeah. And maybe we can
awesome.
get your mom under too.
Oh, now that would be fun. I think there are people out there that would pay to see that.
Now that's a thought.
Yeah. Forget the gallery reading. We just charge people $100 to come in a room and watch her go under hypnosis. That you make a lot of money up here in Wisconsin.
Yeah. I've been to Wisconsin before, but not doing any work. Where are you at in Wisconsin?
I am in Neenah, which is between Oshkosh and Appleton, so kind of the
Okay.
middle central of the state.
I was in Eclair.
Okay. Yep.
I had friends that lived up there. Yeah.
Very cool.
But it's country out there. That's for sure.
Very cool. Yeah, Wisconsin has a lot of. It has its big cities. You have Madison and Milwaukee and stuff, but there's a
Mhm.
lot of smaller rural stuff. A lot of your small town cities. But yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting out there. I grew up in a town next to a city, but now I'm in kind of a little bit of a country type area. So it's good. But I'm on 15 acres and boy is it haunted.
Mm,
So I live on the Trail of Tears.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
So we've had so much here, so much activity. It's not even funny.
there you go.
But
I was gonna ask you one question here. When you were talking a little bit about the getting the information about an area. Now, can you put somebody under hypnosis? Like, you're familiar with like the Akashic record?
yeah.
Okay, it's like for people listening, it's like basically like the sum of all knowledge is just floating up in this you know cloud, and we can tap into it and get the knowledge. That's the Akashic record. So when you put someone under hypnosis, like let's say we're in a claimed haunted building, could you
Hmm.
put a random person under hypnosis to get information about that location and not just the person?
I've never tried it that way,
Okay.
but that is something to try.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
like if you could, yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty good at getting information out of people, and usually I can get everybody under. Um, but if it's for us to know, that person could give us that information. Yes,
Okay.
I believe anyway.
That's really interesting. Like I always hear about like psychics can, there's always that person aspect. You can always find out about the person, the subconscious and all that. But can you put somebody into a location that has no information about that area and have them pull information about it? Like that would be really interesting. That'd be a cool thing.
Okay, are you volunteering?
Sure, sure. Take me to a haunted location and we'll talk about the dinosaurs that used to live there.
You never know. You never know what's going to come out. That's an
Mhm.
interesting thought.
What is the oldest, not age wise, but historically old uh past life that you've been able to pull, like caveman, like
Back
that, like
back to Atlantis.
really
As a
very cool.
matter of fact, my cousin was a princess back then. I put her under, and boy, was I shocked on that one. I didn't expect that.
Wow.
But yeah,
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like what was Atlantis like? What did they say?
she didn't really tell me too much. We were doing it in between customers. She had her own beauty shop, so we went into like a little room, almost like a closet size, and she lay down. I put her under, and she told me that she was a princess in Atlantis, and I was like, wow. And we didn't get very far because another customer came in. So,
Hmm,
but yeah, that far back.
Nice. Wow. Interesting.
I
Yeah.
put somebody under one time that had 28 lives, but we didn't examine all of them. That was too far to,
Yeah.
too many to do at once. And she never came back for the rest of it. But yeah, some people will tell you they have no life. Some will say one, some will say the most I've had so far is 28. So,
Very
and it's interesting. It really
interesting.
is. Because like I said, I try to pull everything out that I can pull out.
Do you find any kind of pattern or anything to these, like, as to why some people only have a few or some people have many? Is there like for instance, like I've heard the story of like when you start on this plane, this existence, you have to reach a certain like enlightenment before you can pass on to the next stage of whatever it is that we're in. And do you see that like the person with 28 lives just hasn't got it yet? Like they haven't got to that stage, and maybe the person with one or two is progressing faster or something. Have you noticed anything like that?
You know, my belief is that, when you pass, you go up there, you decide if you want to come back down or not. And then you discuss what you want to do with it. And then you come back down again if you want. Some people come back as a hitting bag. And I don't mean, punching bag. I mean, a person that everybody picks on,
Mhm,
or, um, another example would be a person who comes down that is disabled really bad. Why would they want to do that? It's a
mhm,
lesson that they need to learn or teach us lessons.
mhm,
So I think it just depends on the person and what they want. And usually, a person who commits suicide, um, that death is kind of unexpected in a way, but they choose that. My belief is that they come back into the same pattern until they find out what that lesson was.
mhm,
So they have to kind of face what caused them to commit suicide. And that's really a hard subject for some people.
mhm,
I I did 5 weeks of dinner shows at the Ohio State Reformatory a few
mhm,
years ago. And I had a woman there, and I was standing in front of her. I did not want to read her. And her friend came up to her and said, "Oh, I want to hear this." She's my best friend. So I whispered to her. I said, "She's trying to commit suicide." And she said, "Yeah." And the husband goes, "No, no, no secrets. Just bring it out." And I looked at him. I said, "Are you sure?" And he said, "Yes." So I really got into it for like 20 minutes, telling her about her trying to commit suicide. Her son had passed. And so she tried to commit suicide because she couldn't handle it. And I went through, and her son was here, and I was giving her information about her from her son and all that. I had her crying. I had the person who was putting it on come in my eyesight, and I thought she was going to tell me, "Cut it out," because it was really intense, but no. And afterwards, they thanked me. She came up crying. She said, "I will never try it again. Thank you so much." And, that's a hard subject.
mhm,
And that woman, I have to say, I probably put her through, hell, because,
mhm,
what I was telling her, but it kind of gave her more meaning to live, which I'm grateful for. But they're kind of hard to get through.
mhm,
But then I had a guy come up to me and say, "I don't believe you. I don't believe anything you say. I'm a skeptic. I said, "Okay, no problem." It was my birthday. So again, we're at the OSR. And I take this box, and I said, "I want you to stick your hand in it with your eyes closed. There's rocks in here. Well, objects in there." So they went and they picked one, and they got their eyes closed, and they're going like this with it, and they're holding it. Well, Mr. Skeptic raised his hand. I told him they can open their eyes and look what's in their hand. And he said, "Can you tell me what this means?" I said, "No." I said, "I had you pick it. You tell me what it means because you know." He said, "This is really weird." He said, "My friend that just died, who was a guy, had a coral lighter. That was the color of his stone that he picked." And I said, "What does that tell you?" He goes, "I'm flabbergasted." I said, "That's your friend saying hi
Mhm.
and letting you know that he's there." And everybody who picked one of those stones, they all picked the color that they were resented, that they knew and had a connection to them. So some of this stuff is mind blowing. It really is. I had my mom went to one of my galleries, which she's never been before. And she's like watching me, watching me. And the guy next to her go, "Oh my God, she's good, isn't she?" My mom goes, "Yeah, and that's my daughter. And I don't know how she does it." He goes, "Does she do that?" And she goes, Because she wouldn't do that. But yeah, so you get good things, you get bad things. I've walked up to a woman before and I've said to her, "Congratulations, you're pregnant." And her mother sitting next to her jumped up and looked at her and said, "You're pregnant?" And she said, "Well, we were trying to wait until the 3 months were out, but I guess it's out of the bag now." And I tell people, if you don't want to know something, stay away from me because it's going to come out. And it usually does. But I had this one lady again. I kept telling her there's a red truck buyer, a red truck, a big red truck. And she's like, "Nope, nope, nope." I said, "Okay." And usually they figure it out later on. Well, all of a sudden she jumped up screaming. Her boyfriend sitting next to her is a firefighter. Now, how in the world could you not have realized that?
That'd be a big red truck.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm interested in putting you under and seeing what we come up with you.
Well, sounds good. I look forward to it, and hopefully, we can have it on one of our episodes or as a podcast or something, and you guys can all come back and check it out and see what happens.
That's a great
So
idea.
yeah, one of the things I want to ask you too is you were talking about when these people when a person has all these past lives, right? Um, but yet as a medium, you can go back and talk to those spirits sometimes, possibly. So, if would you say that like there's a part of them that still gets left in the afterlife, like a shadow or something? And how does that work? If you keep getting reincarnated as a person, we'll say, how do you still be able to talk to the spirits of your loved ones after they passed? Does that make sense?
When you're doing a past life regression, is that what you're talking about?
Um, so if I've had say 10 past lives and
Yeah,
one of them was say like okay, Julius Caesar or something, right? Now you go
right.
to Rome and somebody says, "Hey, can you do a medium gallery and we want to talk to Julius Caesar?" Okay? So I'm still alive and I was Julius Caesar. But you're in Rome, now you want to talk to Julius Caesar and Julius Caesar comes through.
I think a piece of us stay, you know, out there to come and talk to us because when I put somebody under and like you, excuse me, like you saying you're Julius Caesar, well, I go there and you're telling me you're him. I'll ask you questions like, um, where are you? How old were you? When you died? I'd ask questions to kind of verify you really are him. So, yeah, if you were him and you come back and he's talking, giving me information, then if I can verify that too, because I like confirmation, because confirmation is what really lets you know the person is real deal. So, but
have you ever put somebody under and the person is sitting there telling you about their past life and the spirit of their past life is there as well? Does that make sense?
mm,
As a medium, you said you could see people, like the spirits of people standing there. So when you're
yeah,
talking like me, you'd have me under in hypnosis and I'm telling you I'm Julius Caesar and Julius Caesar is standing next to me saying, "Yeah, that's me." Does that make sense?
right. That could be part of you. Exactly. Yeah.
Have you ever done a hypnosis regression like that?
Yes, because the person that I'm talking to is a part of you, but it's also a spiritual part of
Right.
you.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah. And it's very interesting. I put a young girl, she was 15. This is another one. And no, I think she was 12 at the time. And like I'm from oh, I don't think I should have said that one. But anyway, well,
Okay.
you may want to edit that part out, but she was from that. She was born in that area, but taken out when she was young. So she doesn't know any of the streets up there or anything. Well, there was a babysitter that took two young children and killed them at the place that was being built for the babysitter. It was a new house. And he took up his two young charges and he killed them. This girl, she told me she was him. She described the streets. She told me what street she was on and taking me from point A to point B to where he killed them. There was no way she could have known that. And it was really her mother and her father were there and myself, and we were just totally stunned because we never expected that. But that babysitter spirit is there talking to me. Now, the girl is under, but it's actually the spirit that I'm talking to.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to you?
Yep, that's exactly what I was wondering. Yep. That's really
Yeah.
neat because like I said, I've never had a hypnotist that I've been able to talk to on the show here. And I don't know that a lot of hypnotists are mediums at the same time. So it's really cool what you can do because you can have the person under hypnosis and talk to the past life person at the same time and confirm back and forth these details. And that's really cool because you can bring it all together.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's why I try to get as much information out for the person under because they can always go on the internet if it's,
Mhm.
fairly recent. I mean, how much information that they can dig up on what they said. Like I had some woman, she was buried in like a barrel and thrown in the water, and she's afraid of water. And then I had one that fell in a well and she died in the well. And she doesn't like closed places and she doesn't like water. And that's why she knows where her fears are. And I gave her her name and date and she looked it up and verified it. You can get a
Sad,
lot
but
of
very cool.
information. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's I mean, like to look back at your former self and your past lives or whatever and see all the ways that you've died and the lives that you've lived and stuff. It goes both ways. It's really interesting, but at the same time, it's a lot to take in and realize that this is who you are and who you were.
Right. And it comes together, and a lot of who you were is who you are now.
Mhm.
You still have part of you from back there, you know? So you learn information as you go. It's like a string, I guess, that leads right to your computer, which is your subconscious.
Yes. Yep. Oh man, that's fascinating. That's absolutely fascinating. I look forward to meeting you and to doing this in person and seeing what we get. I know, I'm going to see you sometime. I know I'll see you down in uh, South Carolina, and I'm pretty excited for that too because I have never been to South Carolina yet in this lifetime. So
Oh, wow.
I get
Yeah.
to, I've been through almost all 50 the continental states. I've been through
Right.
almost all of them. I have not been way up to Washington and Montana, and then down south, I'm missing Louisiana, Florida, the Carolinas, and there's one more down there I'm missing too. But so I'm pretty excited to add two more states to my list.
Well, that's good. I've been to almost all of them. Plus, I've been overseas. So
Mhm.
we lived in Germany for 3 years. My husband was in the military. So,
Mm.
but yeah. And I think since we're going to be at a haunted place, we may want to try to check that out with you and see if we can get some
Yeah,
information.
that I would definitely be down for that. I do. I don't know if you're familiar with the Estes method.
The
It's
what?
the Estes method. It's you put on noise canceling headphones that are hooked to a spirit box and a blindfold, and then the people around ask questions, and then I usually repeat what I hear through the spirit box, and I get a lot of communication. Like I can see things and hear things as well in these locations. So I'd definitely be interested in trying that out. So
Yeah, I've never heard of that. That sounds interesting.
it is, yeah.
I know I was hypnotizing some lady, and she was really excited, so I had to let her lay down for a little bit to calm down, and I walked out of a room, and they were doing an investigation across, and my one daughter yelled, "Hey mom, come here." They keep yelling Mary, Mary through that box. So I walked in and I go, "Hey, I'm here. What do you want?" And it actually ended up being the owner of the place we were at, her grandmother, and I gave her the name and everything. And it was like, she just wanted to acknowledge,
Hmm.
just like your grandmother wants you to know that she's always with you. And that's
Very
good.
cool.
Sometimes it's good to know. Sometimes people don't want that, but
Mm,
that's what happens.
sounds good. So this episode will be airing on December 26th. If you're listening to it, obviously it's aired today. But Mary, for you, coming up past December 26th, looking forward to January and stuff. Do you have any places that you're going to be? Any events coming up that you want to share?
I should have had my list with me. February, February, I'm at the Country Squire Winery in North Carolina for dinner show. Um, boy, in March I have I think it's Pickens Paranormal in South Carolina. And then oh boy, she's got me June all over the place. We're going to be in New York. They can always look this up. It's being posted like crazy all over the place. But I'm going to be in New York. I'm going to be in Illinois. I'm going to be in oh gosh, she was talking about Kentucky, Pennsylvania. We're going to be in DuPont, Pennsylvania. And my gosh, there's like 7 places, and
Awesome.
she's still contacting people, so it's gonna be a busy year.
I bet it sounds like it. So for people that want to check it out, what is your website? You have all the dates and stuff on there, I assume.
Yes, it's under the event. www.marybarrett.com .org. I always want to say .com, but no. But yeah, the events are there. They're on my Facebook. They're all over the place. So if you want to, even if they want us to come to them, they need to let us know, and we'll see what we can do. But I'm looking forward to meeting you in person also. And I know what your name stands for, but I've heard it before throughout the circles. And we may have even been at a paranormal before together and not realized it.
Mm-hmm.
So.
There's so many people at these events and stuff, and
Yeah.
I do know I'm going to see you before. I know March. March is my first event this year, and that's going to be, I'm going to be in Ohio at the Frogman Festival. But right after that is when I go down to South Carolina, and
Pickens.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm trying to get up on my website real fast so I can see, because now you've got me curious on where we're supposed to be at. But oh gosh. Yeah, she's got me at a lot of events, and it wouldn't surprise me, but the Trevick Clinic in North Carolina is going to be one too. Are you going to any in New York?
I will be at the Lake Champlain Festival in New York, but that's cryptid.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to that one. The one in, where the Cambry House is?
I do not.
It's Nauvoo, Illinois.
No, that does not ring a bell. It looks like just the Haunting at the Mill Paracon, March 24th and 26th. That's in Pickens, South Carolina. That's the only event on your website I'm looking here that I'm going to be at. But I swore I saw your name at another one that I was going to be at. But yeah,
and where was that?
That
June. Was, I think so too. I had to withdraw. Is it with Nick?
Yes.
Yeah, I was supposed to come there, but my graduation, I didn't know when it was going to be, and he was having it in March, and I guess he changed it to April, but I dropped out of that one because of my graduation. So
okay, yep. See, that's the one I thought that I saw you at. Yep, that was the one in Illinois, Wisconsin, in Broadhead. So, well, then I won't see you there. I will see you in South Carolina.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks for having me, and I'll talk to you soon.
Sounds good. I will see you then.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Whispers from the Dark. To find out more about cryptids, anomalies, and the Paranormal Society, visit us at our website at wisconsincaps.com. That's wisconsincaps.com. There you can find links to all of our social media: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and our Patreon. You will see links to our online store as well, where you can get t-shirts, DVDs, and more. If you click on the public events page, you can find out where you can meet us in person and all the public events we have coming up. If you enjoy our podcast or our YouTube shows, please consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/WisconsinCaps. There you can find behind-the-scenes pictures and videos from all of our media, as well as bonus footage and evidence that we have collected. If you have encountered something you can't explain, we want to hear from you. Visit our website and click on Submit a Report on our main screen. You can choose to leave your contact information or simply remain anonymous. You can also reach us via email at wisconsincaps@gmail.com. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please contact us on our Whispers from the Dark podcast page on Facebook, or send us an email at wisconsincaps.com. Remember to like, share, and subscribe wherever you listen or watch or find us.